once again and welcome back to my video about my Stirling engine I built. So this is my little Stirling engine. In the last video it was running. For people that are waiting for this video, I'm sorry it's taken so long, but I've just been a bit stuck with other projects and having to go to work and general family stuff, unfortunately. So what I was trying to do is actually test the power output of this model. I've had a few trials and issues along the way. So my first thought was to put an electric generator on this engine, which I did. I'll show you what I got up to with that side of things. Right, so this is the engine. So today we're going to run it on gas. So what I've done is I've dismantled a camping stove that I had here. I've just sort of retrofitted this gas burner. So that's just the gas burner head. I just mounted it to a piece of steel. And it goes in there like that, underneath the heat exchanger. And then we've got a metal plate that goes in place, just to kind of half block the hole to stop all the heat escaping. Okay, so I made an adapter plate up there in yellow, and that is to hold the little DC electric motor I bought. It's only a small little motor, and I felt like it was about suitable. I've got it attached to the flywheel there, or the groove in the flywheel, with a timing belt. There you can see it from the back. I also put a nice little lightning strike there as well. Thought it'd add to the aesthetics. So this thing here is a pickup for the magnet. So when it passes the magnet, it sets off this here, and this will measure the RPM. So I've got the cable going from the little DC motor, which is we're using as a generator, and I got it plugged into this box here. So we've got a buck and boost controller, I suppose. Somebody in one of the comments put me onto one of these. I've tested it with a 12-volt battery, and it does work quite nicely. So you can actually adjust this. You can adjust the power output, and then that will actually hopefully control the speed of the engine. Hopefully it'll be a bit more easier to control than using the valve here to bleed off air. So I've used this protractor to set the crank angles. At the moment we're set on 110 degrees, which is pretty good for an alpha type engine. You can see we've got our table here that we're going to populate with the kilowatt output, or the probably watt output. So we've got different crank angles and different revolutions or different speed ratings. Right, so I think we're pretty much ready to go it. Christ. Oh, right, let's turn the gas off. I think I've burnt half my hair off. There we go. Scary. Oh, I can smell burnt hairs. Right, put our makeshift deflection panel back in place. Right, let's give it a go, see what this will go. And seems like a lot of resistance on that motor, doesn't it? Oh dear. I did wonder whether it was a slightly big motor. In all fairness, I ordered it. It's meant to be a 30-watt motor, but I think it's a bit more than that, I would suggest. Yeah, this is not happening. I'll take the belt off a minute and give it a go. Yeah, so it runs. But, it's really quite big, that motor, and the pulley's too small perhaps. What we might try and do is actually get a bigger pulley to see if it will drive that and go from there. We're going to abandon the test today, I think, and I'll get a bigger pulley on order and try it again. It's a funny thing with Stirling engines, because a lot of the heat is stored within the heat exchanger itself. You can disconnect the fuel and the engine still runs. No fuel. So there we go. It's done about 4 minutes without a flame. So it's just running on the heat within the heat exchanger, the steel with the heat exchanger. Right, so we're running again with the bigger pulley fitted. Our speed is 450 revolutions per minute. The only problem is because I put the bigger pulley on, we've got a low input voltage warning on our little buck boost controller. We're going to play around with the angles on the crank to see if we can get the thing running quicker. That's it, turn off. That's just a little thing. Yeah, this buck boost, it's meant to work over 3 volts, but we got 6 volts there. And it's coming up with a low input voltage warning. Yeah, so if you bought one of these controllers, they don't work from 3 volts. They work from about 6 volts onwards. Yeah, so I've got a bit of a problem really. I've put the biggest pulley I can on it to allow the engine to push the motor, but now the voltage output of the motor is too small. I was struggling to find a small motor that gives out, say 12 volts or so, at a fairly low speed. My dad's recommended a dynamo off of a push bike, which might be an option as well. So I'll look into that. I think I might have a spare one kicking around. Yeah, so we're still not there yet. To generate electricity today, so what we're going to do is actually the 3 running speeds. So I'm going to change the crank angles, the different crank angles, to find out how fast the engine actually runs. This is with the engine crank angle set at 80 degrees. Top speed is 680 RPM or so. You can hear a loud slapping noise. That's because the diaphragm seals are actually flapping back in again. So there's an actual vacuum portion in the cycle. It's slowing down now. I don't know why. Maybe the gas has just turned itself off. But yeah, so this is not a very good crank angle.
I mean, they're all higher than 90.
Right, so the crank angle is set on 120 now. Something to notice, which is quite interesting, is when the engine is started, it's got torque from a long way. It gets going quicker. See how quickly that gets going, and it's able to do it from a really low RPM. So an increase in crank angle has actually lowered the maximum torque point, I would suggest. We won't know until we've actually can do proper power tests when we've got the generator sorted out. But yeah, just something interesting. Right, so this is set at 130 degrees crank angle. Notice how slow the engine's become now. You could actually use the crank angle to actually restrict the speed of the engine if you just wanted to display it or something like that. I tried 160 degrees here, but it won't quite run. So that is the limit of the phase angles that it will run at. Right, so this is our... Oh, I don't know if you can see that in the sun.
Put up the lighting.
There we go. Right, so this is our sort of speed readings. This is 3 speed readings. It doesn't give us an idea of the actual torque of the engine. I'm going to set it back to 120 because I think that probably will give us the best spread of torque. That was kind of the design phase angle with the engine, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Yeah, so it didn't fully go to plan, unfortunately. So I had another go. I got a slightly smaller motor, and I'll show you what happened there. So I've taken the old motor off. So that's the big motor here. It is, in hindsight, it is quite a large motor. So that does 12 volts at 3,500 RPM. And we got this nice little motor. It took me quite a while to find one that would go have a nice low RPM on it. So it's they're saying 24 volts at 3,500 RPM. So I'll fit that and see what happens. Right, it's a glorious sunny day. So the engine's all ready to go again. So we got this much smaller little DC motor, which we are going to use as a generator in place. So when we turn it around, it gives it a little spin. Right, we got the gas on here. I'm trying to start it, but it's just too much resistance. I've got a bigger pulley that I can put on the motor to try and reduce the resistance a little bit. So I think we will give that a go. There we go, I've got a bigger pulley on now. Right, let's light it up and see what happens this time. The bigger pulley has allowed it to run with a little motor. The only problem I think we've got now is, once again, is we ain't got enough voltage. This booster, this buck booster is turned off at the moment. But if I turn it off, so I turn it on, it comes up with ORP. I think that's low voltage error. So we got that problem again. It could be this unit is really a bit too big for our extremely small power output, but it's fine. What I'll do is I'll get some bulbs linked up, and we could perhaps measure it in that fashion instead. Right, so we've put a big pulley on it. I'm measuring the voltage here, so we're on 5 volts. It could run a computer if you want. You could charge your phone with it with 5 volts. Right, since it only creates 5 volts, I've actually got this USB connector, and I've soldered it to the output wires from the generator. My soldering's fallen off again.
Oh, for crying.
Right, here we go. Hey, got a disco light. Pretty cool. That's quite a nice little experiment. So I've got my little Stirling engine, running a little 12 volt motor, running a disco light. And the engine's not really slowing down, so I could probably run a few of these. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, so still not really, still not really working. Unfortunately, this engine is so small that any kind of device attached to it, I think it just saps too much energy out of it to give us a good reading. Luckily, somebody gave me a great idea of how to test the power, and I'll show you that right now. Right, I think we're ready to test the power output this time. So I've revised how I'm going to do that. I'll show you the dynamometer setup right now. This setup was actually an idea of somebody else, but I've used it, and I think it's going to work. It seems pretty sensitive setup. So of course the power output of this engine is very small, so so we just want something nice and delicate that will tell us what the output is. Okay, so it's very simple really. There's a piece of string here that wraps around the flywheel and goes back down to a loose end on the right. I've got some welding wire here, which is a weight, a set of scales. So we turn our scales on, put the weight back on the scales, zero the scales, right, so we get our string here. So when the engine's running, we pull on the string, which puts a braking force on the flywheel, and that in turn will apply or remove some weight from the scales. It won't lift the weight because the weight's too heavy, but it will remove the weight. I've got it set in grams at the moment. I'll probably use grams and then later convert it to pounds feet. So it's as simple as that really. I apply a force here. It lifts the weight up partially, but doesn't actually physically lift it up. One thing I've got to remember is I've got to have to double my figure, or double my figure, because I'm actually, when I pull this to brake it, I'll be applying half of the braking force to this. So once I've got my readings, I'll have to adjust the calculation because I'll be looking for pounds feet. This distance between here and here obviously isn't a foot, so I'll need to make a calculation to compensate for that. And that is our setup. So I'll get my dad over when he's got a spare minute and we can test it. Ready to go again, outside in the sun, just heating up at the moment. I'm going to slow it down to 500 now.
500, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to wait though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, 400 RPM.
400.
Like that. Right, so here's the readings that we've taken. The table's got a bit mixed up because we put some stuff in the wrong place. So we've taken readings for 120 degrees between cranks, 110 degrees and 100. We didn't feel it was worth doing 90 because there wasn't actually a great deal difference between 100 and 110. So yeah, so that's what we've done. I'm now going to have to calculate this and work out what's been going on, and then hopefully I'll make some nice pretty graphs and we can have some good visuals of the difference between crank angles. Right, let's turn this thing off. Yeah. so that's not too bad. So we've actually got some power readings now, which is nice. It's only very low power output. I'll show you the graph now of the results. As you can see from the graph, the 100-degree phase angle gave us the best results. 120 was a lower power output, but it was certainly a more lazy engine. So the maximum power output was 6.3 watts, which is pretty low really, but not unexpected considering the size of the engine. So this graph is the maximum free speed that the engine gave out. I mean, if you look at the diaphragm, it's quite a small diaphragm on this engine. I mean, this is my hand, and look how small it is. I mean, the engine is literally being driven by a bag of hot air, put in the most basic form. I mean, it's a smooth engine. It's the best engine I've made so far, I would say, even though the power output is down. But what I'd really be interested in is actually making this engine much bigger and then seeing what will happen. Because it's so small, this engine, a lot of the heat gets conducted from the hot side to the cold side. I could make the design more elaborate, so I've actually got a thermal boundary between the two, but then that would take away the simplicity of the engine. And the idea was always to make a bigger version of this engine and keep this as a model. I mean, as a model, it's quite a nice little engine because it will probably run all day. I don't know that yet, but I shall certainly find out as I test it through the rally season. It will power stuff, even though it's only low power. You could charge your phone with it with the generator if you wanted, and also it'll drive a few LEDs as well. It will drive a little water pump if you can find something small enough as well, or a whistle or something funny just for entertainment purposes. And I think the nice thing is it will actually run on anything. So you could run on wood, coal, firelighters, gas, oil, anything it'll burn really, because of the basic nature of it. So there you go, that's what we're being up to. So that's the Stirling engine development so far. A few people have shown interest in actually purchasing a kit of this small little engine. Obviously it's quite a low power output little thing, but as a model it'd be quite a nice little thing, I would have thought. There is a chance that's going to happen. I will say that I've actually got some DIY projects to do first. We need to do a small extension on the house, but I'm hoping that I can get back to this soon. And I've got a few changes that need making to the design, so it could actually be put together quite easily, you know, as you get with most prototypes. But yeah, that's kind of where things are at the moment. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you next time. I haven't given up with the Stirling engine developments. I will be doing something else. I want to build something big at some point, using all the knowledge I've gained. Obviously, it's not big power, but because this engine is very scalable, I can simply go big really cheaply and really easily. To actually get something that might actually give a bit of useful power. But yeah, that's where it is. Yeah, so I'll catch you next time, and hopefully over the next few months I'll put the next video out of something Stirling engine related. See you again. Bye bye.